Cocoa Board says it is hopeful of achieving its production target of 650,000 metric tons in the 2024-2025 crop season, which will be launched very soon. Now, Cocoa Board says it reviewed its production target and down by 19.8% due to the drought experience this year. Speaking earlier at a press conference, Chief Executive Joseph Boyne-Edu said Ghana is collaborating with Ivory Coast to announce the farmgate price simultaneously to discourage smuggling of the beans across the borders.
For announcement, we have to harmonize, our price differentials to ensure that there is no huge gap. When I say gap here, is about official gap in the official pricing of cocoa. So if you've watched the announcement of price in cocoa for Ghana doesn't go way, far from what is announced in Côte d'Ivoire. We try to bridge the differential between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. Whatever difference that you see being huge are not the official, prices. These are coming from the black market. And often it's not even Côte d'Ivoire. It may be from Guinea-Bissau and then Burkina. There's a lot of smuggling from Côte d'Ivoire to Guinea-Bissau and then Burkina. And then from Ghana through Côte d'Ivoire to these two countries. This is what is happening. So apart from harmonization of our market systems and then pricing, trying to bridge the smuggling gap, we've also come out the living income differential. And it came at it was timeless because that was a time when price had completely collapsed. But additional $400, actually cushioned us to stay above water. If that hadn't come, we would have sunk and there wouldn't have been any industry at all in Ghana because farmers would have lost hope. But the $400 came to cushion us. The same way took place in Côte d'Ivoire. Because for every cocoa they were selling, they were getting extra $400. And to us, to the two countries, these things have been very beneficial. Now, we also have a common stand on matters.
Join us on Zoom, Obed Osuadai, co-coordinator, Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, as we anticipate the announcement of cocoa farm gate prices to begin a new crop season. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Cocoa Board hopeful of achieving a target of 650,000 metric tons for the 2024-2025 crop season. It has had to review production downwards by 19.8% due to the drought. What do you make of the target?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And yes, we anticipated that there was no way Ghana was going to be able to meet the projection that we made for the 2023-2024 cocoa season. We are not surprised because of within the season there were several factors that affected production. So if you ask me whether we are surprised, we are not surprised. Whether or not the new targets augurs well for the cocoa sector, obviously not. But we are hoping that in the coming season, Cocoa Board and farmers will put their house in order, and then we can be able to meet the projection that we will make.
Sometime last week, you held a press conference where you raised concern about our cocoa production. You indicated that we're going to see our lowest output in a decade in the upcoming season. You're blaming it on illegal mining. And then, we had the Cocoa Board CEO talk about the drought situation as well. Those are two big problems.
Yes. So our inability to meet our target is because of several reasons. And you have just mentioned two, which is the illegal mining or the galamsey, and then, of course, the weather, the drought, and in some cases, drought and others, excessive rainfall. But there are others. There is also the diseased farms, and the CS-D farms. And when you go to the western and western north, there are some areas that are experiencing a lot of swollen shoot disease, and their farms are not productive. When you go also to western north, There are farms that have been attacked by the black pod disease. So all these factors are contributing to our abysmal production. And as a matter of fact, it's not a decade, it's actually 2 decades. The last time we had such terrible harvest was in the 2002-2003 cocoa season, when we had around 493,000 metric tons. And this year, or this season, the 2024-2025, we are projecting to have less than 500,000. So yes, these factors are contributing, but maybe the solutions to these factors probably we'll discuss later. But whilst we wait to discuss, we are thinking that one of the most effective way to increase production, aside and the productivity enhancement programs, is to motivate cocoa farmers not to give their lands to these galamseyers, not to smuggle cocoa. And one of the most important incentives is to increase the farm gate price to a level that is competitive within the sub-region.
Well, you're in the Ashanti region. We're expecting that announcement to be made today, but it doesn't appear it will be made today. Talk to us about how important the farm gate prices are for the farmers to sustain their interest in cocoa production. And what would you suggest to be the ideal price?
Well, just as we stated in our press statement last week, we have looked at the numbers. We know the cocoa board is in a very difficult position. Actually, we don't envy them at all, because we are seeing our production levels go down while the price is going up. And they have been running at a loss for several years, and this would have been the appropriate season to make up for some of the lost revenues. But unfortunately, farmers are also demanding higher prices, not because we just want to demand, but we are looking at our neighbors. When you go to Togo right now, Togo is paying not less than 7,000 per bag, 7,000 Ghana cedis per bag. When you go to Nigeria, you go to Cameroon, you go to Madagascar, they are all paying not less than 8,000 Ghana cedis for a bag of cocoa. But we know that our situation is different from that of those African countries, because in our case, cocoa board supports us with certain services that we are required to pay for. And so we understand. But looking at the numbers, we think that the worst, and please listen to my words very carefully, the worst that we are expecting from cocoa board will be 3,500. They can do better. We can go up to 4,000, 5,000, but the worst we are expecting is 3,500. If the government doesn't announce that.
Okay, appears Obed is frozen there. Don't know if we can have him back, but we are discussing
what we intend to do.
All right, Obed, quick one before you go, because we are just about losing you. So the cocoa board says it's collaborating with Ivory Coast to announce the prices. What difference would it make, really?
Well, in times past, it would have made a lot of difference, because the most active corridor for cocoa smuggling was the Western Corridor. So between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, that was where a lot of our cocoa was being smuggled because of price differences. But now, my brother, the hotspot is not in the Western Corridor anymore. It's rather in the Eastern Corridor, where in the Oti and Volta region, the farmers smuggled more than 80% of the produce that they did for the 2023-2024 season were smuggled to Togo. And so, yes,
because of the prices
they might
there.
be putting measures. Sorry?
No, I was just saying, because
Hello?
Togo is offering much more in terms of pricing.
Hello? Yes. So yes, the pricing on the Western Corridor will, I mean, if we engage with Cocoa Board and the CCC, which is in the Ivory Coast, to set the price at a level that will not be attractive for cross-border smuggling, that would be very good. But if we are using that as the logic, then Cocoa Board should also be looking at our Eastern Corridor and also look at the price in Togo, and also make it more competitive in such a way that Oti region and the Volta region will not also be exporting or smuggling their beans to Togo. So yes, working with Cote d'Ivoire is great, but the problem is moving from the Western Corridor when it comes to smuggling to the Eastern Corridor. So Cocoa Board also need to put measures in place to address that problem.
All right, I'm going to risk this and ask you the solutions going forward. What should be done?
Okay. Well, there are several solutions. So for one, when it comes to illegal mining, there need to be a more serious approach from government towards illegal mining. This Operation Galam Stop that goes on for about 6 months and it stops. It's not working. We have seen it not working. So they need to come out with a more pragmatic and solution-oriented kind of strategy. On the issue of the disease farms, we know Cocoa Board has started rehabilitation of the farms. The problem is that some of the farms that were rehabilitated about 2 years ago have been left to the mercy of the weather. Nobody is taking care of it. They've just left the farms there and there are no weeding around them. So you can't just plant cocoa and leave it in the wilderness. It will die off. So if Cocoa Board is serious about rehabilitating the disease farms, they need to go to the ground, get the workers to weed around these planted cocoa seedlings, or else our production will still come down. Then on the issue of the price, the pricing needs to be competitive. Cocoa Board needs to come up with strategies to make the best out of the market. The problem for Ghana has been that our marketing strategy has been mostly forward sales, and we are not making enough good use of the spot sales. Currently, the price on the market is around $9,000 US per ton. But Ghana sold most of our 2024-2025 season in the past season or in the past years. That means that the price we got there will be different from the spot price right now, and it might not have been competitive enough to pay the farmer the required price for their beans. So it is a multifaceted strategy that Cocoa Board needs to come up with. They can't be holding just news conferences and issuing statements and expect that the solution will just come out from the sky. They need to engage stakeholders, especially the farmers, and then the LBCs, the private sector, civil society, and have a concerted conversation to bring up a strategy that is forward-looking. This is not politics. This is not about NDC MPP, but this is about the sector. The earlier we absorb the cocoa sector of politics, that will be very useful for all of us. Then the last point is that Cocoa Board's overhead expenditure is so much, and the amount of money that they spend in running Cocoa Board as an entity also contributes to the debt that they are incurring. If they want to be very, very self-sufficient, and now this season they want to raise funds internally, one of the things they could do will also be to minimize their overhead costs and administrative costs by reducing the number of staff that they have and cutting down on those big bonuses that they pay to their staff.
We hear you. Obed Owusu-Adai, co-coordinator, Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform. We are looking forward to the announcement by Cocoa Board. I'm sure you are in anticipation as well, just as the cocoa farmers. I appreciate your time with us here on the marketplace, and that's